Hi, I'm Lucy and welcome back to my channel. So in this video I am going to be reading some spooky horror kind of genre of middle grade books. So I have a few picked out that I would like to read. So I've got The Girl in... That's really... glare's kind of gross. The Girl in the Locked Room by Mary Downing Hahn. I've also got The 13th Cat by Mary Downing Hahn as well. Also, I am going to be reading The Doll Bones by Holly Black and Spirit Hunters by Ellen O. So I haven't read any of these books. I have had Spirit Hunters and Doll Bones on my TBR, well, on my long TBR for quite a while, but I haven't gotten to them yet. So this seems to be the right time. I'm kind of feeling in a spooky mood, and yeah, so I'm gonna give them a try, and I'll see how I get on with them, and we'll kind of report back at the end of each book to give some of my thoughts. And yeah, so we're just gonna go with that. So I am going to read, I think I'm going to start with The 13th Cat. So it sounds really weird, or a little bit weird. Zoe loves spending the summer with Aunt Alice, and her aunt's new house is the perfect place to cozy up with a good book. But she's unnerved by the overgrown forest and rundown house next door, which is creepy even in the daytime and full of eerie sounds at night. Worse, there are rumours in town that their neighbour is a malicious witch. And Zoe can't deny that the wild black cats who make their home on her property seem to be watching her. After a terrifying encounter with a mean old woman who claims to be their owner, Zoe realises there's more to the cats than meets the eye. But little does she know that the closer she comes to discovering the secret, the more danger she's in. So I think that does sound kind of interesting. Yeah, so I'm going to get started with this and kind of see how I go with it. So I have finished The 13th Cat, and it is very weird. I feel like, I know I haven't read this one before, but I feel like I have read something very similar. Zoe goes to stay with her aunt for the summer, and then right next to her aunt's house is this overgrown like forest kind of wood area, and this rundown house, and everyone says the person living there, Miss Dupree, is she's doesn't like anybody. She keeps to herself. She's a hermit. Like, you stay away from her house. Like, she doesn't like anyone that trespasses. Like, there, everyone says, she's cantankerous and mean. Everyone says, and then the rumors that she might be a witch. And she has a lot of cats. There are 13 cats that she has. So, as soon as Zoe arrives to stay at her aunt says, do not go next door. Like, stay out of that area. Do not go in there. Like, do not. So, is it inevitably, pretty much the first thing Zoe does is plot to go to explore the woods and ends up in there. Now she doesn't technically go in there just because. So Miss Dupree has these 13 cats, and it seems like they're watching her and keeping an eye on her. And there's a really little one, kind of at the end, that seems to be bullied by all of these other cats. She's tiny, and Zoe immediately is drawn to this little cat that's obviously a lot smaller and frailer than the other cats, and she tries to adopt it, but these other cats end up like chasing it back into its actual, like, the property, Miss Dupree's property. So Zoe goes after this kitten to try and rescue it, and so she ends up meeting Miss Dupree, and so it just kind of goes from there. And then Zoe does ultimately end up adopting this cat, stealing this cat from Miss Dupree. Miss Dupree just numbers all these cats, so this one is the 13th cat and is called 13. And Zoe ends up taking it in and trying to keep it safe from Miss Dupree. Miss Dupree obviously isn't happy about this situation at all, and plots to get Zoe to go back to the house, over to her house, and when she does, Zoe discovers exactly who and what these cats really are and what Miss Dupree really is. So then Zoe ends up being turned into the 14th cat, and Zoe's friend Lila ends up getting turned into a cat as well, so number 15. And 13, 14, and 15 basically have to work together to escape from Miss Dupree's clutches. So it's a little bit dark, actually. I liked it. It was weird. Very weird. Very dark, yeah. So it was interesting. A little bit disturbing. I feel like I really have read something similar to it. I'm not really sure what. It was an interesting read. I flew through it pretty quickly. Like, it's not very many pages. It's 225 pages. So it was a pretty quick read. I read it. Didn't take me very long at all. So yeah, it was interesting, and I did enjoy it. So yeah, interesting. So next I am going to stick with Mary Donningham, and I'm going to read The Girl in the Locked Room, which is as a ghost story. So a girl is locked in a room in an old abandoned house. She has been hiding there for more than 100 years. She is afraid and she is lonely. Now another lonely girl arrives. Jules and her family have moved so often that she has never had a chance to make friends and put down roots. Once again, she's starting over in a new place, this time a ruined house, where a pale face appears in an upstairs window. Who is the mysterious figure on the top floor? First fearful, then fascinated, Jules is determined to befriend the girl in the locked room. Past and present intersect as the girls unlock the door and discover the chilling secret history of the family who lived in the house all those many years ago. So yeah, I am very excited to get into this. This one is another really quick book. It's only 193 pages, so I don't anticipate it taking me very long to finish this at all. It should be a pretty quick read. Curious to see how spooky it actually is. I'm not expecting it to be super scary, for me at least. But yeah, so I'm gonna give this a whirl and see how it is. Okay, so I finished reading The Girl in the Locked Room, and it was okay. I liked the concept or the story. So there's this little girl, Lily, who is the ghost. She died. There was a family tragedy that occurred in like 1889, and she went to go hide during it, and with the kind of the understanding that her mom would come get her when it was safe to come out, and nobody ever came for her basically, and she died waiting in this locked kind of attic room. And then Jules she's about 13, I think, in this. She moves in with her family into this house where this girl is. Her dad basically, they move around a lot. Her dad restores old houses and things. So they kind of go where his job is, and in this case they are restoring this old house. And they've kind of built this kind of little extra bit for like the family to live in, but Jules' bedroom overlooks the room that this ghost girl Lily is in. And so it kind of works out that Jules and Lily can see each other sometimes, and so it kind of goes from there. Jules ends up trying to figure out how to help this girl Lily, and so that's basically the story, is Jules figuring out how to help Lily. And so there's chapters from Jules' perspective and from the girl's perspective. So this girl has been in this room for a long time, so she's forgotten a lot of history, or pretty much everything that happened. She's forgotten kind of who she is, her name, her family. There's pictures on, like, paintings on the wall that she she doesn't remember the people in them anymore. She doesn't remember her name. She doesn't remember much about the house. She kind of watches, like, Jules finds these like old dolls in this like garbage pit, and Lily sees her with them and is like, maybe I had dolls like that, and but can't actually remember. She remembers, certain other little things, but can't actually, sees certain things, but can't really remember ever actually having them herself. And the concept is really interesting. Because it's written from both perspectives, sometimes it's a little bit repetitive. So like, at one point, Jules is with her mum. They're having a picnic by this stream, and her mum is reading to her, and she kind of ends up kind of in seeing Lily and Lily's mum reading to Lily, and so Jules kind of describes that. But then when you go into Lily's chapter next, she also talks about Jules being able to see her while her mum's reading to her, and it felt a bit repetitive, like I already knew they'd seen each other. I didn't necessarily need to read it twice. Everything that happened you got from each perspective, so you really was reading it twice. And then at the end too, there's a thing that happens that Jules comes up with an idea to kind of free Lily from her little ghostly prison. And again, you get it from Jules's perspective, and then again after that you get it from Lily's perspective, and the two, like, the details overlap, so you read bits of it twice, which isn't overly necessary. It was nice in a way, because you got their individual thoughts of what's happening, what they're each witnessing, but there wasn't enough of a difference to need it twice. Especially the thing at the end. I felt like we probably could have just read it from Lily's perspective without having Jules's. And really still gotten the idea. Like, it really, I don't think it added anything by getting it twice, if that makes sense. Other than that, it really wasn't a neat concept. It wasn't super spooky, but a little bit eerie, I guess, in some parts. But mostly it's sad. Like, it's a sad story. Like, Lily's story is very, very sad. Very sad. And, for me at least, it felt more sad than spooky. Yeah, so yeah, it was a cute book. It was really fast read. Like, yeah, I got through it really, really, really quickly. Like, flew through it. And I didn't want to put it down, so that's like a good thing. Like, I just wanted to speed through it and see what happened next. So I really did just read it in one sitting, which is nice. Yeah, so that's that one, The Girl in the Locked Room. It was a pretty interesting read, I thought. So next I'm going to read Doll Bones by Holly Black. I don't think I will finish this one tonight, but I'm definitely going to start it and see how far I get. I'll probably end up having to finish it tomorrow, just because it's already pretty late here, and yeah, this one, it's 244 pages, so it's not super long either, but yeah, so I might be able to get through it tonight. We'll see. Either way, I'll update when I've finished the book and kind of let you know my thoughts on it, and yeah. Did end up reading Doll Bones in one sitting, so did end up finishing it tonight. Yeah, it didn't take as long as I thought it might. Yeah, so it was really good. This one was one that I've been wanting to read for quite a while, because it did sound intriguing to me. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It's kind of cute, kind of a little bit creepy, yeah, it was good. So there's 3 friends, Poppy, Alice, and Zach, and they are 12, and they have this game that they play, with like their Barbies and things. It's like, there's like pirates and mermaids and things. Zach comes home one day and his dad has thrown out all of his action figures and things, saying that Zach's too old to play with them now, and he's pretty gutted and doesn't know how to tell the girls that he can't play anymore, or the reason why. So he lies to them and just tells them that he's not interested anymore, that he hasn't wanted to for a while, and just, you know, too old to do it now. But then Poppy has had this, well, Poppy's mum, I guess, has this antique doll that she keeps locked away, and the kids refer to it as the Queen. And one night Poppy takes it out of the china cabinet that it's kept locked in, and claims that this girl Eleanor has come to Poppy in a dream, says that she lives inside the doll and needs help getting to the place where her parents are buried, and because she wants to be buried there. Yeah, and so the kids embark on a quest to take the doll to the cemetery. And yeah, so it involves a bus and a boat and yeah, some escapades. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. You get to learn a little bit about Eleanor and like the girl and her life and kind of how she died and kind of the mystery around it, I suppose. So yeah, it was an interesting read. I liked it. I wouldn't. Yeah, like I said, this was one I've been wanting to read for quite a while, so I am happy that I wasn't like super disappointed by it or anything. Yeah, so it was quite pleasant, and yeah, I liked the kids in it. And it's interesting because you kind of see them. They're 12, and so they're on this cusp of growing up, and they're changing, their interests are changing, and they keep referring to this as kind of their last quest. And Poppy says at one point that she really wanted to do this together because there's this last thing to keep them connected so that they could stay friends in later years as they grow further apart. And so it really is just like kind of the end of childhood, I guess, like the changing of becoming before they become teenagers. Yeah, and so that really feeds or is present through most of the book, and that's like one of the main factors of it. And you do see them kind of clinging on to the last little bit of imagination, and yeah, just wanting to, knowing that this is kind of it for them, almost. Yeah, so that part was good. I thought it was well written, and kind of pick up on those feelings for the kids. Yeah, so that was kind of my main thoughts on it. It was I enjoyed it. It was a very good read. Very quick. Like I didn't want to put it down, so I'm up way later than I should be because I actually have things to do tomorrow. But that's okay. I got it finished. And I'm happy that I did. Yeah, loved this one. So yeah, I'm going to start Spirit Hunters by Ellen O. I definitely am not going to get this finished tonight. But that doesn't mean I can't get started on it. Yeah, I'm pretty interested in this one. I've heard really good things about it. So hopefully it's pretty good and I don't end up being too disappointed by it. Yeah, so I will be back with kind of my thoughts on Spirit Hunters when I'm done. That one will probably update tomorrow because I don't anticipate being able to finish it tonight. I shouldn't finish it tonight, I should say. Yeah, so I will check back in on the next update. was really good. It has ghosts and possession and shaman, spirit hunter type things. It was really good. Really enjoyed this one. It was a little bit creepy in parts, and a bit weird, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Harper and her family move to a new house, and her little brother Michael starts acting really weird. He suddenly has an imaginary friend named Billy, and then and he starts acting weird, and weird things start happening. Harper then does some research and finds out that there'd been a family that lived in the house years and years and years and years prior, that had two sons. Was a mum and two sons, one named William and another called Jonathan. So, and then we find out that William is the Billy that Michael is now playing with. And it's really interesting in the way it's written. So there's kind of what's happening right now, and then Harper has these like flashbacks, and then she also has there's like journal entries for like reasons why she doesn't like this house, and some of it has like dreams that she's had and like certain memories. There was an incident when Harper was not super. It was before they moved house. That Harper was involved in and was very badly injured in, and also as a result she ended up in a psychiatric hospital for a while. She had a lot of amnesia about pretty much all of the events, the incident and her time in the psychiatric hospital. And slowly these memories start to unfold as Harper kind of, she's researching the house and starting to untangle her like forgotten memories, and it's really interesting. Turns out that so the little boy William, or Billy, was not a very nice child and pretty much bullied and bullied his younger brother horrifically, actually. And then there's a whole history in the house of things going wrong, and everybody that's lived there has had issues. So it's really interesting. You find out that Harper had what everyone thought was an imaginary friend when she was younger, called Rose, and as it turns out, Rose wasn't an imaginary friend. Rose was a ghost that Harper could see, but the issues surrounding the incident and the events at the psychiatric hospital and like losing her memory like that, she forgot about Rose and who she was and that she even existed. And as the story unfolds, it all kind of comes out and she starts to realize more about herself. There's a lot of ghosts in this, like a lot. There's like a play on an exorcism, and it's a little bit dark, a bit darker than I was anticipating, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I really enjoyed how it was written and how it all kind of unfolded. Yeah, so yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And yes. So that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and thanks for watching. I will hopefully have another one up very soon, so if you liked this then hopefully you'll check that one out too. So bye!